Okay, we're going to go through our population-focused design project, and this is where we're going to bring everything together. And I just want to kind of take a step back and look at the purpose for this particular assignment. And we know that population health is an integral part of the DNP Essentials. And in addition, the American Organization of Nurse Executives has specific competencies on population health. And we're also looking at how we're supposed to be changing healthcare. And part of that is shifting from sick care, so to speak, to a focus on population-based care delivery and looking at prevention and being proactive in care delivery. And nurses are to take the lead role in doing so based on the Future of Nursing report. So those are the foundational reasons for actually doing this particular course. And knowing that all those competencies are in place and the impetus to change healthcare, we're also looking at within our own curriculum, this is an opportunity for you to really showcase what you have learned so far in the DNP program, because we're going to be taking in many of the concepts that have been encased within many of your courses and assimilating everything and putting it into action here within your design project. So as we're looking at the design project itself, we're actually taking the information from your epidemiology at-risk analysis, and we're taking the next step. We're developing a very focused program that's specific to your chosen population based on the culture of that population, and really looking at how to elevate the outcomes for your chosen population. So you're going to be integrating many of the concepts that we've covered before as you're looking at your design project, because you're going to be taking into systems thinking. You're going to be looking at informatics based on what you've done through your epidemiology risk analysis, and you're going to be able to look at also what you've done with doing your SWOT analysis and your strategic plan, because everything ticks and ties, everything fits together. So when we're looking at this particular assignment, we're really looking at focusing on integrating those concepts. So as we're moving forward, one thing I do want you to really consider is the fact that this is a very modified process. This doesn't encase all of the steps, so to speak, that one does in the process of doing a community assessment and doing the planning process and engaging stakeholders, collaboration, all those types of things. We only have 8 weeks, so we're just taking just pieces of the process to develop an understanding of population care delivery, no matter where you practice. And that's the key factor as well. Population health isn't exclusive to a particular area of practice. We really need to look at practicing population health wherever we happen to practice. So that's why it's so important as you as leaders to have a good overall understanding of the concepts of population health and know some of the components of moving forward with developing population health interventions. So as we're looking in particular at this assignment, you have tons of resources that we've used, and in our discussion, our forum, we've actually gone through some of the resources that are out there. So make sure that you tie those things in. Each and every step throughout this course has built up to this point. So keep in mind what you've already done, because you're going to be taking that information and kind of encasing it within this assignment. So keep that in mind as you're moving forward as well. The other thing I want to highlight is have your textbook handy, and take a look at Chapter 7, because much of the nuts and bolts of this assignment is actually included within your textbook as well. And just know that there are a number of different means to get to the end, meaning to do the assessment process and to develop a plan. We're using your textbook's basic shell to do so, so everyone's consistent, and it really covers most of the models that are out there have very similar constructs, and it's just looking at the process, much like the nursing process, and I believe that came out in the discussions too, that really what we're doing is very similar to the nursing process, except the person that we're serving is not a person, it's a population. So the same principles translate very easily to population health. So again, keep that in mind. Again, when we're doing this presentation, it's really important to have a physical presence as you're presenting your project, and this is based on what we're hearing from our advisory committees, that they really want leaders that have those strong presentation skills. So that's why this is built in within this course, to do those presentation skills. So anyway, the rubric itself, I want to encourage you just to use it as a checklist, and once you complete each component, you just check it off, make sure that you have everything in place. And the rubric is actually very specific to help you to think through the process, because it's quite a complex process in developing a project. So the components are to help you to really process through and move forward in a systematic manner. So we're going to start out with the introduction. Always do your SMART objectives and make sure that they're measurable and achievable. And those are the two components that sometimes aren't present in the objectives. So really focus on making sure that they're measurable. So it may be as simple as, by the end of the presentation, the audience will identify 2 key components of the population health project as demonstrated by, and it could be as simple as the discussion at the end of the presentation, or question and answer. It could be maybe a quick little survey afterwards, those types of things. So just, it doesn't have to be highly complex, just that you have those components in place, showing how you're meeting your objectives. So as always, whenever we develop anything, we need to be congruent with our mission and vision. As we move to the nuts and bolts, we're going to start out with the why. So you're really going to showcase what you've done within your epidemiology at risk analysis. And as we move on, we're going to move into the what. You're going to look at the program that you're going to actually implement, and there are, like I said, tons of resources available to you. If you have any questions, let me know. We can talk through as far as programming. And just, I want to see your thought process in your presentation, why you chose what you chose. What considerations did you use when you chose your evidence-based program? So as we move on down, you also want to make sure that you've used a program that's appropriate to your area as well. You want to make sure that it's feasible and it's sustainable. And you want to make sure that you have a good timeline, a real timeline, as far as the implementation. And the implementation, many times, actually the pre-work is, as you've learned through your projects as well, the pre-work takes longer than the actually implementation of the project itself sometimes. And building those sustainability pieces is a key factor as well. We've talked quite a bit in our discussion boards about our forums. I keep calling them discussion boards. I apologize. About who is important. So we really want to key in into those stakeholders, and also that we keep our stakeholders in mind as we're implementing the project to make sure that it's a very meaningful project for them. So you want to look at where, how you're going to do key elements, and again, back to the timeline, the when of that factor. So as we're developing all those components, we want to have a very systematic conclusion. So in your textbook, there's a logic model. And this is a really, really good tool, not only for population health, but also to use in your practice in general. So I really want to focus on the logic model and systematically looking at the overview of your population, your identified issue, and using the logic model as a systematic way to do so. And of course, we want to make sure that we're using our professional presentation skills, and that when you're doing your slides, make sure that you cite your slides appropriate on the slides and have a reference list as well. Make sure that your slides are correct as far as spelling, and make sure that they're not too wordy as well. So if you have any questions about this particular assignment, let me know. Again, we're tying everything together through this assignment, so this will put all those pieces together for you and give you those very valuable skills of developing a population-based project.